Good morning, all. It is Monday, August 8th of 2022. Why am I talking to you on a Monday? Because everything I've done so far is on a Tuesday or a Friday, right? Yeah, maybe there's been a couple peppered in here and there, especially early on. The reason I even started this was back during when COVID first started affecting the market significantly. I decided I'm going to start sending a YouTube video to all my database to explain what's happening in the market, because the calls were coming like crazy and I could not. It wasn't a matter of I couldn't keep up with the calls. Well, true, I couldn't keep up with the calls and explain to everybody. There's such detailed data that there was a lot of people that are left wondering because they weren't getting the information fast enough. I just couldn't get to people fast enough. So I wanted to be sure we got the data out to everybody. But today is just, there's a special reason. August 8th it was a changing point for me. So August 8th of 2008, right when the crash was happening, I had a personal crash myself. I was heading out of town. It was on a Friday, and I was going to be gone for a 3-day weekend. I was going to stay through till Monday. I was heading out on a Harley, going to just ride for 3 days and clear my head. It wasn't 15 minutes into that ride, and a person who was next to me for quite a while on the freeway flipped on the blinker, didn't even look, and came over into me. I looked, there was nobody next to me. I hit the throttle on the bike to get away from him. Now I had my cruise set at 74. You know, the speed limit on that road is the 101 heading south in the Phoenix area. Was speed limit was 65, so I had it 74, just under the 10 miles an hour over, right? You typically don't get pulled over in that scenario. I hit that throttle, get away from him. Nobody was there. When I hit the throttle, somebody started to pass me. I clipped their front bumper and I went flipping. Now, I don't know how many of you have been in Arizona in a day like today in August. Now, right now, it's not bad. You know, we've been pretty cloudy lately, but that was not one of those cloudy days. So the sun in Arizona is a pretty significant force against us out here, and it really heats up that concrete. When I went skidding to a stop, I was wearing a t-shirt and jeans. It tore me up, and I laid there and I baked on that concrete, that blacktop. While you know, it was a 3-day weekend traffic, right? So I don't even know if it's 3-day weekend traffic. All I know is it's heavy traffic, and a lot of people got stopped. If it wasn't for the fact that person I collided with, the one that was going to pass me, if she didn't spin out and block traffic, who knows if I'd be sitting here talking to you. But I experienced a lot of broken stuff over that. I've had over 50 broken bones in my life, 8 concussions that I'm aware of, the type that knock you out or make you puke or get you really, really sick, and a whole bunch of other things have gone on. You know, both shoulders have had to be repaired. I've been through a lot of crap, right? But that's not where this conversation is going. It's the change of life, the waking up and having a complete different trajectory in your life at that point. And my trajectory really was just a complete stop. And I'm going to share some things with you here. This is what I woke up to in that hospital. So, you know, this is a kind of a rough picture, right? This is what I look like. And it's kind of grainy because we were using flip phone technology to take that picture. This is my wife took this shot for me. So she would know so she can convey to me what things were like. She got this crazy call for coming back from the grocery store, dropping things and then running to the hospital. This is what she encountered, because they got me right into surgery and put me back together. And here is, there's only gonna be 2 pictures I'm gonna show you. This is my right shoulder. This is the back of the shoulder. This is the front. What they had to do is they had to cut me open there because I shattered my collarbone into 4 different pieces when I took this impact right here. And they had to plate it together. Now, I was plated together in a lot of places. It was not a pretty situation. The reason I share these things is because it's just kind of an illustration where things were. You know, that was cut from here to here. I had to go in there and plate this and put it back together because I only had the use of my left arm. That was it. Both my legs were unusable. My right arm was unusable because of this. And if they plated it, I at least could move it around a little bit. Could put a lot of pressure on it. But it was a life-changing situation. Not only going into a massive economic adjustment for everybody, but then I woke up to this. And not only did I wake up to that, because of the head injury that came, because I took the impact here. I was a very, very avid mountain biker before this. So when I felt the crash coming, I would just tuck and roll into it and take it with my shoulders, something like that. That's how we did it, right? Because you're not going really, really fast. And yeah, you can take pretty good beating on the rocks here in Arizona, but you took it really well, scraped up, and as long as you tucked everything in, you didn't break anything. Well, that's what I did. That's why my arms weren't broken. But you know what it was, I tucked in, I took that initial impact there, that impact came through, it shattered the collarbone and then broke a bunch of ribs. So I ended up with a collapsed right lung. as a result of it as well. So I had to rehab the lung, whole bunch of crazy stuff, right? But here's the point behind me even getting into all this, right? The reason why I share this, one, it's today, 14 years ago today. And by the time this will be released, it'll be about an hour and a half before the actual time that it happened. It's 12:24 in the afternoon that this went down. You know, it's an interesting division of eights, right? Eight of 08 with 12:24. You can work 8 in there all over the place. But I woke up to a completely destroyed economy, right? A completely decimated business. I had everything that I had in assets was getting completely pinwheeled out of control by the market. I went into this basic net worth about $2.5 to $3 million, and that was my net worth after all liabilities. But when I went in there, fairly athletic person, about 190 pounds, somewhere right around that 10% body fat, maybe a little bit less. I rolled out of there 156 pounds. I was still in a wheelchair, and a negative net worth of $1.5 million, starting over, not just at zero, but at negative 1.5 million. So the reason I bring this up, I have no idea where the market's coming right now. There's a lot of people asking me what's going to happen, where things going to go, what can we expect? I don't know, right? I wished I could tell you. I did not know how bad the economy was going to get. There's a lot of people that did know. They could see the signs, but I was in my early 30s. Nothing had ever led me to know what economic indicators are going to be to show that the market was going to change. I didn't have the experience. I have a ridiculous amount of experience now. So when I share things with you, I share it from an experience piece. The things that I've gained, as far as the knowledge that I've gained, comes from an ass whooping. I have gotten a lot of them in my life, not only monetarily, but as you can see, physically. And I've had a lot of physical ass whoopings. So everything that I share comes from that pain situation, because I still have the scars, tons of them all over me. You know, a lot of the burns all over my back. It's not only just the road rash scraping on the ground, it was laying there baking. So I didn't show you any of that stuff because that was pretty dang nasty. You know, I'd lay there and I'd adhere to the sheet while I'm healing. They'd pick me up to move me. They'd grab the corners of the sheet and they would just crack this full body scab. So it was just really, really miserable experience. But pain drives the situation into you. Pain drives the experience into you. So when I talk to you guys about ARM loans, right? It sounds very, very tempting. Oh, I'll just grab the ARM. It's slightly better pricing. I do not agree with that, because when I came back from this, right, when I was coming back this, I had a memory that would loop every 3 minutes. One thing I do remember is that people had the ARMs, because of what happened in the economy, had a hell of a time refinancing when that ARM was up. And there was a lot of foreclosures because of ARMs. Control what you can control, maintain that control as long as you can control it. You can do that with a 30-year fix. I don't give a damn what your pricing is. You can't control it with an ARM. You step at your own peril and possibly your own lesson learned by stepping into that, because you get lured in by a slightly better situation. I don't recommend it whatsoever. So that's one of the things. The other thing that I definitely wanted to speak to with respect to this is how you operate with business, right? I came back to a completely obliterated business. There's really only 2 realtors that I was working with at the time, because I wasn't working heavily with investors. I'd worked with them a lot from 2003 up to this point, but not to where I was just exclusively investors. Most of the realtors I worked with were gone. They were out of the industry. There's 2 left, right? There's my mother, Aaron.Chapman. And, you know, she, even though she is my mother, she does not suffer fools. If you cannot get the job done, she's not going to continue to have you impact her reputation and her clients if I ain't getting the job done, right? So I had to stay on top of it. Then there's another by the name of Carolyn Irby with Coldwell Banker. Both of them helped me rebuild my business and my memory. So what I did was I got too used to carrying around a notepad. I wish I still had them. I threw them away. But what it was is because my memory would loop, I would forget things. They would call me up and say, hey, we got a client for you, give this person a call. And then they graciously would call me back 5 minutes later. Hey, did you write that down? I'm like, write what down? We just gave you a client, get your pad and pen, and they'd walk me through it. And I'd write it down. And then I'd call that person. I got used to carrying a pad and I'd cross out things. And if it was uncrossed out, I would do it. There's a lot of people that got a second call from me, because I get on the phone, I get talking, I forget to cross it out. And I'd go through the process. And then later I'd look and say, oh, there's an uncrossed out item. Call them back and start talking to them as if it's a brand new conversation. It's like, hey, we just spoke. And it was kind of embarrassing. And I said, I just got to ask your clemency here. And I explained the situation. But then I had to put in processes in place to ensure I conveyed the data right away so that I would get the loan started, because I didn't want to forget anything. And it was really, really tough, but they had great patience and the clients had great patience with me. And that's how I rebuilt my memory, by utilizing that. So it was not only did I have to learn how to, and also the beard came because of the accident. I woke up with a full beard. I had a patch here, wouldn't really fill in, but I tore up that side of my face. It filled in. I decided I would continue to let it grow until I learned how to walk again. And it got about yay long. It wasn't overly long, but there's other reasons. You guys seen the one with Ron on here, why I cut the beard, why the beard got to this length, right? And I'm going to keep it. But there's things, right? I learned how to walk. I had to learn how to walk again. I had to retrain my memory again. I had to rebuild a business that was obliterated again. And by the grace of God, did I have two amazing people to help me do that. So going into what's going to happen into our economy, I can't say where we're going to end up. It's kind of hard for me to determine what we're going to end up with and what we're going to have to work through here. But what I want you to do is be confident that whatever it is that we're going to do, that we can be assured that it's going to be something, at least I hope, that you're going to be able to work your way through. Because if you're not having to wake up and work your way through memory loss, and I'm not doing a comparison whatsoever, right? Just know that anything can be worked through. That was a major turning point for me to redo my business. And that's where I started working with the turnkey provider in 2009 as people were coming into Arizona, met up with some folks, caliber companies up in North Phoenix, where they started flipping things, and there's some people coming in. And that group of people also, I got to just, tip my hat to them. They're also a very, very big reason why I have been able to, others who connected me with the real estate investors who I built relationships with. All of you that are watching here, it's because of you that my career has continued to flourish, and I haven't had to go back to earning living with my back, like is illustrated here. There's a picture of my pop in the mines. That's where I was at right before I got in this industry. So thank you for letting me taking you down a little bit of memory lane. But guys, there's no matter what you're hit with, you can figure out what to do next. Just because we're punched with something, now you got to ask you, okay, what am I going to do about it? What was I going to do about it there? I couldn't worry about the economy. I couldn't worry about money. All I had to worry about is, what do I even remember? And how do I start walking again? I had to heal, right? And I pushed myself too fast. I actually put myself my healing process took way too long. It shouldn't have taken as long as it did, because I pushed myself right back into to doing things I shouldn't have done that early. But here I am. It's over. I still have some residual things, but nothing that's going to stop me whatsoever from doing what I want to do. So let's get into some market conditions right now. Here's the charts. We can see that we've got this narrow channel. We've got a lot of volatility, a lot of big days of swinging around, but we are in this channel we talked about before, and we've maintained that position from where we were last week, which was right here. We got put right in that spot. We're in it still. What's interesting is we had the jobs report come out on Friday, right? And it did show a very interesting divergence between the business survey and the household survey, right? So the business survey showed about 528,000 job gains, where the household survey showed 179,000. So the reason that the household survey is showing this decline is because when you're looking at it, people lost full-time positions and they're taking a bunch of part-time positions. Our business survey is looking at all those positions. So the big difference is when they're making a call on the house, they're basically doing the household survey. It's just, are you employed or are you not, right? Or are you full-time employed or part-time employed? Where the business survey is how many jobs are being occupied, right? So it looks like there's a major amount of jobs out there in the business survey, but it's just riddled with part-time employment. So I doubt the Fed is going to talk about that whatsoever. As a result of that, they're going to, because of the narrative today, what we see is they're going to definitely be talking about anything that makes it look like the economy is getting better, right? They're also, what is a recession? We know what a recession is. It's been defined the same freaking way. In fact, be very interesting if you haven't seen this already, go to Wikipedia and take a look. It will show you how many times they have changed or jumped in there and adjusted the definition of recession in there. It's crazy how many people have made a change on that in the last little bit. But looking into the charts here, you've got our ceiling of resistance. It's going to keep us in this channel, I believe. Our support is going to keep us in this channel. We also have, I put in the moving averages here. We've got multiple moving averages that are below where we're trading right now, which is good. That's more support. where we have, of course, the 100 and the 200-day moving average above us. There are going to be more ceilings. As you can see, the 100 is hitting right where this other support is, technical support lies. So as a result of that, I think we may look a little bit more range bound. That sideways, that's what I'm thinking. But it doesn't matter, right? We just adjust to what we have in front of us at the time we have it in front of us, learn how to take the next step. That's the goal, how to take the next step, how to do the next thing that you do to be successful. Everything works itself out. What I found when it comes to investment real estate, especially residential real estate, is that time makes you a genius. Whatever it is you have, time makes you a genius. You just got to suffer through the situation long enough for everything to turn in your favor, and it always does. So I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys subscribing, sharing. I saw a really cool conversation going on with respect to Friday's video. Somebody asked a question about crypto losses, and everybody engaged with them. That's awesome. Engage, make it a community. Everybody talk, investors talk here. You're not going to always agree with me and my math. I appreciate that. This is just me coming from the angles that I see. There's a lot more angles that I maybe can't get into in a single video, but let's schedule some time to talk. If you see something that doesn't make sense, reach out to me. Let's talk about it. I want you to feel confident and comfortable with what we're doing, so that we can guide you the right direction. Go to aaron.chapman.com, scroll down to the donate button, $50 for anything that you're doing. I'm not going to show it right now. I'm going to show it on Friday. Any new donations we have, hopefully we do. I would love to be able to call you out, give you a shout out, and thank you publicly for the trust and participating in a cause that I find really, really necessary, and that is really dear to me. So I appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you on Friday, maybe Thursday. Who knows? I might move it up a little bit. Talk to you soon.